Welcome to the Roots of Confidence. This program is very much about realistic self-protection. Self-protection or self-defense is very, very different from fighting in that in a self-defense situation you are caught off guard. You are not necessarily prepared or suspecting what is about to happen, and you certainly have not agreed with this other person that you're engaging in any kind of a contest. So we are looking for maximum effectiveness with minimum effort, and that is what the Roots of Confidence is all about. We have a wonderful day. We got a nice storm going on outside that reminds me of how self-defense or self-protection really happens. It's like thunder and lightning. All of a sudden it's upon you and it's over in a flash, and one person has succeeded and the other person has failed. And we're going to give you the tools that you need to succeed in a situation just like that. To begin this training, what I want to do right off the bat is to share with you what I consider to be a secret weapon. And that secret weapon is the ability to connect your body weight with the forces of gravity. Gravity is the best ally you could ever have in a fight. Gravity never sleeps. It's around 24/7. So if you can learn how to harness the effects or the power of gravity, you will have a tremendous advantage over any kind of would-be attacker. And I'm going to share with you an exercise that will help you experience this, and this is how it works. Richard, if you and I could work together here, I'm going to get around behind Richard and I'm going to lift him off the ground. And the first time I lift him, he's going to concentrate with his mind on being very, very light. He's going to make it easy for me to lift him off the ground. So I lift Richard up. That's pretty easy. That's pretty easy. It didn't cause any strain for me. The second time, he's going to do a complete reversal of that. He's going to bend his knees. He's going to think about connecting with or allowing the forces of gravity to have their maximum effect, or its maximum effect on his body weight. So he's just using his mind, going to make it harder for me to pick him up. So now when I try to pick, I actually can't. I'm going to try again. I cannot get Richard off the ground. Now, to my sensitivities, that feels like Richard just gained somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 pounds. And I find that absolutely amazing. Thank you, sir. I find that absolutely amazing because nothing changed other than something in Richard's mind. This is extremely powerful. It is a major secret that most people do not understand. So rather than trying to defy gravity by throwing my leg up in the air, I am going to harness the forces of gravity as an ally that can be with me 24/7. Never sleeps, right there anytime that I need it. So let's go ahead and try this with a partner. Go ahead and get teamed up.
Sure.
And just go ahead and try it. First time you're going to go very light. Second time you're going to be heavy, and see if you report a significant difference in what you experience as this person's body weight.
Heavy.
Down too low.
How many of you felt that was pretty amazing?
Yes, sir.
Does it feel a significant difference?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very, very important. So my friend and teacher, Stephen Hayes, introduced this to me as the Earth mindset. It is a secret. It's a golden secret. If you can learn to have that, and it does take training, it does take training. If you can learn to have that mindset available for you at any time, physical part of it is a little bit of a bend in the knees, moving on bent legs. But more importantly, if you have this mindset of being very, very heavy in your body, the bent knees will occur very naturally. And you should strive to practice this as often as you can. Something you can practice waiting in line at a movie theater. Something you can practice while you're talking on the phone. Practice being heavy. Contrast that with feeling light, being too high up in your body, which again is coming from your mind. So using your mind to connect yourselves with this incredible force, the force of gravity. Here's another neat trick that my teacher Stephen Hayes taught me. Do this, come up on the toes of your feet as high as you can, and then just sort of drop into your heels with your knees bent. And imagine that you're actually shooting roots into the ground. You're stabilizing yourself. So breath in, up, and exhale, sink, and then put those hands up. Okay, I'm ready to go. So I found this to be a neat little trick that Master Hayes taught me for getting myself into that earthy frame of mind if I'm not really feeling that way. So one more time, I'm breathing in, up on my toes, exhale, just like I'm throwing those roots into the ground, and now I'm ready to go. Now just a caveat on that, make sure you don't think that means my feet are like nailed to the ground. I'm mobile, yet I'm heavy. I'm connected to this earth feeling. Okay? Okay, so there are several versions of these attack stops. And what we want to do is take a look at what I think is one of the most basic ones. We refer to it as the oak tree. This is what makes it work. Now remember this earth groundedness, so make sure that those knees are bent and you've got this certain thing going on in your mind that we talked about a little bit earlier. And this is used primarily against some kind of a circular attack. So as that attack is coming to get me, I'm just going to line my bones up here, a little bit of a bend in my knee, so that the attacker's arm is actually running into the length of my humerus bone. So that's the most important thing, is that you line this bone up, because there is no way, as he comes in, there's no way for him to get through that entire bone. As opposed to something that looks like this. If I try to do this way, now the muscles that work to operate the hinge of my elbow have to prevent this hand from getting through. So now I'm using muscle against muscle. If he's bigger or stronger than I am, then I'm in trouble. So I'd rather be smarter than that. As he comes in, I'm going to line those bones up with my body weight so that he damages, possibly very severely, his own arm in the process of attacking me. Everybody get that? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. All right. Just one more time, taking a look at it as it's coming in. Stop it! Okay, and I may even move in a little bit that way. See, I'm projecting my body weight a little bit over this knee. Okay, so now Eric is padded up, so we're gonna have him really take a shot so I can practice lining these bones up, and I'll know whether I'm making this work or not, because if the pad hits me, it's not gonna knock me out. It's gonna be uncomfortable, so I don't want that to happen, but we're having more of a real experience. So as Eric is coming in to get me, stop! You see how I'm lining those bones up just perfectly so that he's gonna really sustain some serious damage. So the harder that he hits, the better it is for me if I have this solid grounded technique and I know how to line my bones up. Just to contrast that, go real slow now, so it's not going to be good. I didn't line my bones up. He's going to get through there. I'm going to be the one who sustains the result of this violence. If I know this technique, I'm grounded, I can line my bones up. He's the one that sustains the result of this intended violence. Good, good, and back, ready. Hey, man. Good, good. A little more ground, in the knee. So, hey, buddy. Yes, awesome, very good. Ready. Hey, man. Yes, awesome, very good. Ready. Go. Hey, man. Good. And again, ready. Rope. Good, and one more time. Keep those knees bent, lean into it a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Cheat! Hey. Yes, awesome, very good. Good job, guys.
Come on, stop! Come on, stop!
Stay back, stay back. Stop!
Hey, man. Stop! What I want you to do is try to. What we're going to do now is move
Calm down, man. Calm down.
Yes, sir.
So as he's coming to get Okay, so for circular hit coming in to get me, bam, the bones are lining up there. So we're using what is called an attack stop. And there's a huge difference between an attack stop and what you may have learned somewhere else or understand as a block. Okay? Here's one of the major differences. There are two major differences. One of the major differences is if this is coming to get me, I'm sort of winding up this block. And in real life, when a punch can be that fast, In the time it takes me to wind up for the block, I've probably already been hit. Secondly, if I do, my timing is okay, and this is coming in to get me, and I do something like this, again, this is a very awkward position to try to exert any kind of energy or power from. So I'm torquing my own elbow, I'm relying on muscle strength to do this. If this were somebody 2 or 3 times Eric's size, I'd be the loser in this deal. Now if we go back to the attack stop, where no, I'm actually just letting him run into my bones. Now he's doing the damage. I'm not trying to out-muscle him. I'm not trying to be faster than him. It takes me very little time and effort to move from a hands-up position, stop, leave me alone, to this, where I'm actually stopping the attack using my skeleton. Okay? Here's a really neat way to, and safe way to train on this at home. If you have one of these large red shields, usually used for kicking, we use it in a little bit different way. My partner is going to swing that at me, striking with the edge of this. And that kind of will represent an arm. And I'm going to do this oak tree technique. So as that comes in to get me. Hey, stop! And again, that's going to stop. Very safe way for me to train. Now, if that gets through there, you're going to feel it, but it won't knock you out and create any kind of structural damage. So you'll be encouraged or motivated to make the technique work. Watch how the pad folds around my elbow as that comes in. Hey, stop! And that'll tell you that this is working. So again. Hey, stop! Yeah, and we can do the same thing with dropping the hammer. Remember, I love that thunder. Isn't that great? So that just emphasizes what we're doing here. Remember I said that in some cases you just may feel this way. You may feel like just holding your ground is hard to do and you want your feet to move. So now as that comes in, hey, stop! I'm going to move my feet. Yeah, I'm going to move my feet and do this attack stop, hey! That attack stop. Same thing, lining those bones up. Very, very effective and safe way to train using what most people use as a shield for kicking. Just to review, and keeping in mind the difference between a block and an attack stop. With a block, I've got to wind it up in most cases. I am putting my arm in danger, especially the joint of my elbow. That's a very weird position to put any pressure in this direction. And I'm actually striking usually at the end or in the middle of this bone, which is not very strong. With an attack stop, what I'm trying to do is line up this humerus bone, the bone of my upper arm, so that as this circular attack comes in here, it's going to run into the entire length of that bone. So imagine for yourself, is it possible to crush the entire length of that humerus bone to get through to me? I don't think so. Is it possible to hit here and me not be strong enough to sustain that hit and have this elbow fold and therefore I get hit? I think that's more likely. So that's the difference between a block and an attack stop. And we always want to keep in mind this is what we would call very earthy kind of movement. So my knees are going to be bent. Remember to keep the knees bent. Remember that thing we talked about earlier, this earth mindset. So circular attack coming in. I'm bending those knees, and here's a little advanced secret. I actually want to lean a little further over the knee of the arm that I am defending with. So attack is coming in to get me, and I'm leaning over that knee to pump a little bit more body weight into. Okay, this next version of an attack stop is based on something that I have discovered comes very naturally for people. Frequently when a circular attack is coming in, it seems natural to have that come in and to step into the attack with this leg and this arm. So we're going to do exactly that, and we're going to use the same technology. So specifically, I'm in this earth mindset. My knees are going to stay bent, and I'm going to line the bones, or this bone in particular, of my upper arm with the attacking arm. So as that comes in to get me, stop! I'm lining that bone up so that he runs right into the end of that bone. We call this technique dropping the hammer. It's just a funny name we made up so that we can remember it. And this is what I envision actually, is I've got a nail on the wall and I'm banging that nail into the wall with a hammer and that lines these bones up the way I need them to be aligned to affect this attack stop. So coming in to get me, stop! Again, he runs right into the lower part of my elbow, which is in essence backed up by this humerus bone. Okay, so now we've got the pads on, and that's important because this stuff really works. So you wouldn't want to do this full speed without a padded up arm. So Mr. Bauer's coming in to get me here. Stop! I line that up. I line that up where he's then available for counter strikes. One more time, a little more slowly, and we'll see. Oh, there's that. Can you see that alignment right at the point of impact?
Yes, sir.
He's running into the bones there.
Yes,
okay?
sir.
Again, he's creating the damage himself. I am just putting something in there for him to run into. Whole different concept from a block. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Is that making sense?
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. So one more time. He's coming in to get me. Lining that up, and you can see. Oh, he's going to hit me with the other hand. Yeah, but he's real available for other things that we might do in here.
Hey!
Stop!
Nice.
Hey! Hey!
Stop! Stop! Key! Stop! Go! Stop!
Very nice.
Rope! Stop! Sheet! Stop! Hunt! Stop!
All right. Very good.
Stop!
That's it.
Hey!
Come over here!
Watch how much. I don't want you to
Hey!
bring
Hey!
Stop! Stop!
Yes.
Hey!
Yes.
No, you stop!
Hey!
Stop! Hey! Stop! Stop!
Okay, I'm going to have you lean just a little bit more the elbow.
Yes, sir.
So is that kind of good?
Yes, sir. Stop!
Yes, good, perfect. Let's review this dropping the hammer technique. If you remember the oak tree, if the attack is coming around my left side, I'm simply going to line this bone up and drop my weight over my left knee. Using the same technology, I have found, just because it's a scary situation, it feels better sometimes to actually step across and use the same technique. I'm lining the bones up, the bone of my upper arm, my body weight is being carried out over my knee, and we call this dropping the hammer. And there's some thunder for effect from this storm we're getting. Dropping the hammer. So, and just so you can remember that in your mind, I think of it as hammering a nail into the wall with a hammer. My arm would be pretty much in the same position. So attack coming from around the left side, I'm going to step in, line those bones up, and we call that dropping the hammer. The next thing we're going to take a look at is something called a wedge. And a wedge fits into the category of attack stop, but it's a little bit more of a redirection technique. And this is used primarily against some kind of a downward clubbing action, which is actually pretty common in the world of self-defense. So as this downward clubbing action is coming, I'm twisting my spine and I'm lining this up. If you watch me real slow, I'm lining this up. So the more pressure he puts in, he just slides down off my arm. So we're creating this wedging effect, He's coming in to get me, I'm wedging in there, and that leaves me in a position to do all kinds of things to finish the job. So one more time, and this is what we would call an inside wedge, because I'm ending up inside of his arm. So as he comes in, I'm wedging and moving in for different kind of things here. And I've gained position because I've moved in with this wedge. And it's very important that you remember to keep your knees bent and maintain this earthy feel. Many people misunderstand this earth frame of mind to mean that my feet are nailed to the ground, and that is not true at all. It's more of a heavy feeling, as we did at the very beginning of the class. So I can move my feet as long as I'm maintaining bent knees and I have this grounded feeling, as opposed to some kind of a light feeling up here. So I'm moving in, he's attacking me, I'm moving in with this very grounded feeling,
Yes, sir.
Okay, does that make sense?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Another way that we can do this is to actually move to the outside of the arm. So watch very, very slowly. As that comes in to get me, I'm twisting my spine and I'm ending up outside of the arm. Again, coming in and I'm winding up outside of the arm. So I have different options here from being on the outside of the arm as opposed to the inside of the arm. So the key things, I'm grounded, got that earth feeling, very slowly. Watch how I twist my spine. I twist my spine, okay? And here's the little trick. If I just line my fingers up with his forearm or wrist, he'll do the rest for me. He'll just slide right past there. Okay? Now, one more time, come back, slide, bang, take a leg out, drop him down here. All kinds of options for me there. Okay? So if we look at, this is kind of advanced, but just take a look at, I'm going to have you attack with that
Sir.
arm. If I go to the outside, see how I take his balance here? I can pop that leg out. Pop that leg out. Arm break here. Notice how my knees have stayed bent the whole time.
Sir.
Very, very earthy kind of movement.
Back off.
Nice, and back. Ready.
Knee. Back off.
Good, very nice. And back. Ready.
Hey.
Back off.
Good, good, good. Ready.
G.
Back off.
Good. You can get lured into believing that you should do this. Watch. I do a successful wedge. You can think it would be valuable to lock up this arm, but you see that really leaves me open. So what we're going to do is leave this up so that by using that earthy feeling again, bending my knees, I can actually start to affect his balance and grab things that can work for me here. Can't do that if I'm down here. And contrary to what might seem natural in an untrained sense, this might seem natural in an untrained sense. But to a trained person, you realize, no, if I just use this earthy feeling, I can affect his balance. I can affect his balance and prevent him from being able to attack me with the other arm. So let's do a few more and make sure this time you're paying attention to where that hand is. It's not sneaking down under for some kind of a wrap-up on that arm.
Itch. Back off.
Good, very nice. Ready?
Knee. Back off.
Very good. Now one more time. Ready?
Down.
Back off.
Back off. Itch.
Good. Way heavy on that shoulder and back. Ready?
Knee.
Stop.
Nice. And back. Ready?
Down.
Good. And one more time. Ready?
G.
Stop.
Very nice. Okay, that's looking good. Let's add this.
Sir.
Okay?
Sir.
So overhead hits coming in. I'm wedging. I weigh heavy against the shoulder. See how I shift my weight on my legs? That frees up my right leg to move. I'm going to take that leg away from him. I'm going to take that leg away from him. Could walk through for a break of this arm, whatever kind of follow-up. So what I'm interested in, again, is this is coming in. I'm wedging. I'm taking that shoulder and taking the leg away from him.
Yes, sir.
Okay, everybody got that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's try it. Set it up. Here we go. Ready?
Itch.
Stop.
Nice. Very nice. And back.
Sir.
Ready?
Knee.
Stop. Stop.
Good, good, good. Yeah, one more time.
Sir.
Ready?
Down.
Stop.
Very nice. Wedging technique, some kind of an overhead attack, rather than put my arm in a position where it's going to get hit at the most vulnerable place, right, in the weakest part of the bone. If I wanted to break a board, if I had a 2x4, I would hit it right in the middle to break it. So if I'm doing a block that resembles that, it doesn't much make sense to the way I think or my own experience. So we're going to shift this to where I twist my spine and line my arm up so that the incoming energy is redirected off to the side, and I'm actually covering distance forward at the same time. I'm in a position to affect all kinds of damage with my other hand. This is what we call wedging, and we can either do that on the inside, so I end up on the inside of the attacking arm, or I can do it to the outside. I end up on the outside of the attacking arm. This wedging technology I find to be very, very reliable because it's easy. A question might come to your mind, yeah, but what if it sort of looked like they were going to do an overhead attack and then that turned into a circular attack? Very, very simple to change this midstream. You can change this from wedging to an oak tree. The way we're going to start off this next piece of the lesson is kind of a secret, this is a way that we can take control of the attacker without the attacker knowing it. So if I protect myself by having my elbows close together, it's very hard for an attacker to come up through the middle. So they would be tempted to move around. So this is an advanced way for you to sort of tell the attacker how you want them to attack you. So if my elbows are close together, it's more likely that they're going to come around and we could use an oak tree or a dropping the hammer. In this case, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to open those hands up. Hey, stop it. And very likely, when I open those hands, right about that time, this person may come straight up through the middle. So maybe this is going to be a shove. It's a very common attack. Shove first and then a punch. So this shove is coming in to get me, and then there's a punch there. Can you imagine that kind of an attack? So from here, I'm going to do what we call dropping the palm. Dropping the palm. So as this comes in, I'm going to drop that palm and put myself in a position to do some kind of a follow-up. So one more time, as that's coming in, I'm getting very earthy, bending my knees, just dropping my palm by using my legs. From here, very easy to do some kind of a follow-up and put myself in a position to do a leg trap, which we'll talk about in a little while. So this, again, like the wedge, this can be done from the inside or the outside. So as that comes in to get me, I could go to the inside. I could go to the inside and be in a position to follow up. So a couple times here, I'm outside dropping the palm. I'm inside dropping the palm. Okay. That leg capture down here we'll talk about in a little while. I can take control of the timing by starting with my elbows in and opening my elbows at the time that I would actually like the attacker to attack. That's taking some of the mystery out of the timing. I actually am controlling the attack. Attacker doesn't get it. That comes in to get me. I'm offline, bending my knees, using this palm to redirect the attack downward. I can do that from the outside. I can do that from the inside. So there really isn't a wrong way to do it. Very, very reliable, again, for some kind of a straight push or grab.
Each.
Hey.
Good, and back, ready.
Knee.
Stop.
Very nice, good. Ready.
Stop. Come here.
Stop.
Good, good, and again, ready.
Cheat.
Stop.
Very important detail, easy to forget this. Watch my right hand. As he comes in, it's easy for this hand to drop way back here. I call that going on vacation.
Yes,
So
sir.
now I've got to make a long distance call to get this guy back in the fight, and I don't really want to do that.
sir.
So pay attention. Once you feel comfortable about this dropping the palm, notice how my
Come here.
right hand, in this case, stays right there ready to go, and I don't have to make a long distance call to bring it into action.
Yes,
Sir.
sir.
So let's do a few more. Pay attention to
Sir.
that hand.
Yes, sir.
Ready?
Sir.
Each. Come here.
Stop.
Good, good. Ready.
Knee.
Back off.
Ready.
Stop. Hey.
Back off.
Good, good. One more time. Ready.
Cheat.
Just to review, this dropping the palm, I've got my hands out wide, so it'd be hard for an attacker to come around. They would probably be more motivated to come straight up through the middle with something, maybe a push or an attempted grab. So from here, I'm going to drop my palm by moving my feet and bending my legs. I'm going to use that to redirect the attack and also unbalance the attacker so that they're in a position for me to do some kind of a follow-up. And again, just like many of the things that we have done, like the wedge, I can end up on the outside of an arm. I can end up on the inside of an arm. And each of those situations offers me various follow-ups. next section, we're going to focus on effective counter strikes. And I just wanted to say a few words about why we prefer to use a palm as opposed to a punch. The main reason is when you are punching, especially if you are punching somebody's head, these small bones, when they come in contact with this large dome of bone, if someone were to drop their head down, which is not hard to do, they might do it by accident. They may not even be trained to do that. Your fist comes in contact with this large dome of bones, you're going to sustain quite a bit of damage. I have many acquaintances who have experienced this firsthand by trying to defend themselves, punching someone in the face. Probably more dangerous than that is the possibility of catching someone in the mouth where you actually cut yourself on their teeth. I have a personal student who is a nurse, and this gentleman has had 2 clients in the past year who have actually lost fingers. They've had to have fingers amputated because of infections that got into their bones as a result of having punched someone in the mouth. So it is much safer for your own health, and this is about protecting yourself. It is much safer for you to strike in most cases with a palm. There are exceptions to that, and there is training that goes along with learning how to use a punch effectively, what targets to hit with a punch, and what targets to avoid with a punch. For the purposes of this program, we are going to be talking very much about striking with an open palm. In this section, we are going to be talking about how to create powerful strikes. And as I mentioned, we're going to focus a lot on this palm. We're going to be starting with a cross palm strike. And what cross footwork means is when I am stepping forward with my left, I am hitting with my right. So just so you understand the language, that's what cross footwork means. Here's what I would like this to look like. I'm stepping forward with my left, and I'm moving my entire body weight through space. So I am focusing on hitting with my entire body, my body weight, as opposed to something that might look like this, where I'm just extending my arm. That leaves me vulnerable for a counterattack, and I'm throwing away the natural power that we talked about earlier. Gravity. My body is heavy. I'm moving my body through space by bending my knees and twisting my spine as I hit. So let's try that together. Let's try that together. Hands are up here. Just to keep us feeling grounded, we're going to use this stop sound. We're going to say stop. So ready?
Each. Stop. Knee. Stop. 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 She. Stop. Go. Stop. Stop.
Stop!
Good.
She.
Stop!
Go.
Stop!
Good. Now keep your head up. Keep your head up. Ready?
Sir. Rope.
Stop!
Sheet.
Stop!
Hunch.
Stop!
Good.
Stop!
All right. Very good. Well done. What we want to do now is talk about, we just did a cross. What I want to do is talk about a lead, okay? A lead can be very, very powerful as well. So right from here, what I'm going to do is, can take a step, maybe I'm not taking a step, but what is important is that I'm bending my knees and twisting my spine. So again, I'm using my body weight to create the hit. If I am taking a step, it's very important that I take my back leg with me. So if I step and hit, I've got to move that back leg with me so that I don't get stretched out. And that would compromise my ability to defend myself. The other thing I like about a lead is it's very unexpected, particularly in the case of an oak tree. So if we're working together here, this attack is coming in to get me. If I stop this, very unexpected, because most people, what they would expect is a cross hit at that point. So he comes in. This is what looks like it makes sense. And at the advanced levels, we would actually teach you how to play that trick on somebody. So I might do something like this. Make him think I'm going to hit him with this back one, and I actually affect this powerful lead strike. So let's try a few of those together, shadow boxing, and then we'll get on the pad. So here, again, my knees are bent. Remember that earthy feeling that is so much the theme of what we're doing here.
Yes, sir.
And on my count, I'm going to have you take the step, lead, strike, and back. And remember to have a sense that you're hitting with your entire body.
Yes,
sir.
Here we go. Ready?
Each.
Good.
Knee. Some. She. Go.
All right, very good.
Each.
Good, and back.
Knee.
Good, and back.
Some.
Good, and back. And remember, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, be aware of not letting the hand that you are not hitting with, don't let that one go on vacation. Okay?
Sir.
Make sure it's right there with you, somewhere in front of where it can protect your face.
Yes,
And
sir.
a few more. Here we go. Ready?
Each.
Very nice.
Knee. Some. She. Go.
All right. Very well done. As you become more proficient at these two techniques, the cross and the lead, you would want to learn how to put these together in a combination. I want to be able to do a lead and a cross. And I'd like to be able to reverse that as well. So I'd like to be able to do a cross and then a lead. Again, very unexpected to do that reverse combination. So let's try, let's do lead cross first. So
Sir.
Sir.
hands are up here and ready.
Each. Stop.
Good. Again, ready.
Knee.
Good.
Some.
Good.
She.
Okay, good. And now do the reverse. Do the cross first and the lead.
Yes, sir.
Ready?
Yes,
Sir. Each.
Good.
Knee. Some. She.
All right, very good. Let's take it to the pad. All right, we're going to do a lead cross first. So remember, again, let's review those basics. Knees are bent. I've got that earthy mindset going on. I'm reminding myself to stay connected to the forces of gravity. And we're going to go lead cross.
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Each.
Nice.
Knee. Some. She. Go.
All right, very good. Now let's reverse that. So we're going to go cross, lead. Cross, lead.
Yes,
All
sir.
right,
Yes,
here we
sir.
go. Ready?
Each. Knee. Some. She. Go.
All right, very well done.
Sir.
So again, that palm strike, that strike with the palm, I think is one of the most underestimated techniques in the entire martial arts world. The ability to just use this palm and smack somebody. If you take your own palm and just sort of tap the end of your nose, if you've ever had your nose broken or been hit in the nose, you know what the autonomic responses are to that. So if you just, I like to do this to remind myself, just tap the end of your nose a little bit. Think about then how hard you were just hitting that pad and how little it would take to actually shut somebody down or at least get their attention so that you can move on to whatever else that you need to do to protect yourself. The next thing that we are going to look at is what I refer to as a basic elbow strike. Again, very different dynamics from what I think in my own mind are conventional dynamics. Conventional dynamics are things that we see commonly, particularly in movies. So I wind this thing up and I try to elbow somebody that way. We want to do it a little bit differently than that. We want to be a little bit more sneaky, we want to be more powerful, and we want to use the forces of gravity. So I'm going to actually pull this into my body and I'm going to leave my elbow sticking out. And I'm going to move my legs. I'm going to move my legs. I'm going to do that two ways. I'm actually going to step and I'm going to rock. So I'm moving my body by using my legs, and I'm just leaving this out almost like a battering ram that is driven forward by my legs with my body weight behind it. And you see how that's very different from swinging this. The other disadvantage to swinging this is a term that we call telegraph. Telegraph is anything that you might do that would allow your attacker to recognize or sense what you're about to do. So if I lift that elbow up, it's a pretty good bet somebody's going to be able to cover up or feel that that's coming. If I put it in here and I just rock my body, it's very well disguised and it's a very powerful technique. Okay? Let's just do a couple of those. So hug that into your body. You're just going to step and rock. And let's use a back off sound on this.
Sir.
Here we go. Ready?
Ich. Back off. Knee. Back off.
Good.
Son. Back off. She. Back off.
All right, very good, very good. Now, there are various forms of elbows. This is what I would call the basic elbow, the one that we just did. There is also something called a lifting elbow, and it's amazingly effective. Doesn't look like very much, and this is what that might look like. We're working together here. Maybe I had that circular punch come in, and I did dropping the hammer. If I just lift my elbow, catch this person up under the chin. Very effective strike and leaves other targets open for me to finish this. Okay? It's kind of difficult to practice. On a pad, it doesn't feel like much. If you get somebody's chin under there, you just do that. You can shatter teeth. You can cause a lot of damage that way. Difficult to practice, and the good news is it doesn't really require much practice. You just need to know that it's available as a technique. I can just lift that elbow from underneath. The other thing we would want to look at is a lateral elbow. Lateral elbow, again, very different from what you may have seen in other venues where I'm lifting this up and sort of twisting my body to hit. With our lateral elbow, we don't want to pull our hand in. We actually want to leave it out, where I'm almost thinking about striking with the whole forearm, but I'm trying to target with this point of the elbow. So that may look something like this. If I've got this oak tree coming in, stop here, and I clip with the whole elbow this way. See how that's very different from something like this. Yeah. I wind it up. He sees it coming. So watch the timing on this. Oak tree stop, and an elbow just moves in there. And now I can do this knife hand or any other kind of hit in there. So different kind of elbow, kind of unrewarding when you practice it on a pad, because a pad doesn't respond like a human face or a human body. Okay? The last thing I would want to look at is what we would call a vertical elbow. So some of the same things hold true. I don't want to pull my fist back in when I do a vertical elbow. I want to leave this hand out. So if we have a similar situation, this is coming to get me, man, I just lift out with this. Now I can hammer down with a hammer fist, strike again with the elbow into the chest. So see how that is dramatically different from something like this, where I try to lift up and hit this way. In this case, I'm leaving the whole forearm out. I'm using my entire body and my legs to do that strike. Okay? So just some things to be aware of for an elbow strike. The next thing we want to look at, again, I believe is a very underestimated technique. It's a much safer way to use a balled up fist. And this is what we would call a hammer fist. So I'm striking with the padded part of my fist. So that protects my hand, as opposed to hitting something hard with these bones. I'm hitting now with a padded part of my hand. There are several ways to do a hammer fist. The two that I prefer, the first one would be what we call an omote hammer fist. This is a Japanese term. The way to remember this is that your palm is going to be facing you. So this would be cross footwork version of that. My hands are up here and striking in this way. Now this is very interesting in terms of the potential effectiveness. Just try this yourself. Take that hammer fist and just bump the base of your jaw very lightly. Yeah, and you'll feel your whole head shakes, and you can sense the potential effectiveness of a strike there. That is what I would recommend as a primary target for this omote hammer fist. Another one would be right in the side of your neck, and you can check that out as well. So What I'd like to do is go, let's just go ahead and try a few of these. So, hands are up. You can imagine maybe that you just did an oak tree stop. And we're going to take a step with the left and drive this omote hammer fist to an imaginary jawline here. And let's use a stop sound.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Ich, stop,
Nice.
ni, stop, 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 she, stop, go, stop.
All right, very good. This time we actually come around the side, so the palm is facing down. Japanese terminology, that's called an ura hammer fist. So from here, I'm going to do this funny twist of my spine and bend of my knees to hammer outward, outward. So the other one we just did, I'm hammering inward. This time, I'm hammering outward. So if we imagine the same attacker, I'm hitting the other side of the jaw. I'm hitting the other side of the jaw. Could even be used in combination, where I hammer one side of the jaw and then maybe right across the front of the face or the other side of the jaw. So let's try a few of these. Again, we're going to imagine we did this oak tree stop. I'm going to shuffle or step in with my left, taking the right foot with me and doing this ura hammer fist. It's a little bit more difficult on this one to feel yourself hitting with your entire body. So it's important that you take the time to cultivate this feeling of bending your knees and twisting your spine. It's going to feel maybe a little bit awkward at first. And this is a good one to train on pads. We'll shadow box a few, and then we'll take a look at the pads. So here we go. Hands are up.
Sir,
Ready?
sir.
And
Ich, stop,
ready.
ni, stop, 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 she, stop, go, ich, stop,
Very nice.
ni, stop, stop, she, stop, go, rope, sheet,
All right, good. And watch my right foot. This is very important for your sense of balance. What we really want to avoid is picking that heel up off the ground. And I want you to learn how to move with this earthy balance. So as I move, I take that foot with me. Okay? Why am I doing that? Because now I have what we call earth or void balance. And I can right now, without making any adjustment at all, I could kick with either leg. If I do something like this, I'm very limited. This leg is mobile, but I'm very limited as to what I can do because all my balance is over the opposite leg. So let's do a few more and pay close attention to moving with your heels on the ground. Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Ready?
ich, stop,
Good. Guard your face.
ni, stop, stop, she, go,
All right, well done. Ready?
ich, stop, ni, stop, stop, she, stop, go, stop.
Very good. And look here for just a second.
sir.
This is what you really want to cultivate. Take the time. It's okay if I hit out with my arm. It'll probably do the job. But what we want to get much better at by practicing is learning how to hit with my entire body by dropping my body in as I hit. Okay, see how that's different from just hitting out with my arm and there's not much action down here. Very, very important. Let's try a few more.
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Ready?
Ich, stop,
Yes, very good.
ni, stop, stop, she, stop.
We've looked at omote hammer fist, we've looked at an ure hammer fist, and just so you're aware, obviously, you can come straight down the middle too. Okay? So any of those things is going to cause damage. If you're coming straight down through the middle, a good target is probably the nose. So if we're working together here, maybe it looks something like this. This person is reaching through to shove me down. Bam. As as that comes through, dropping the palm and using this hammer fist right on the bridge of the nose. Okay? Again, the main thing with all of these strikes is that you remember that you're using the force of gravity, you're bending your knees, and you're twisting your spine. So something for you to work on there. The next thing we want to take a look at is actually a double palm strike to the face. So in order to appreciate how effective this is, I'd like you to do this while you're watching the DVD. Open both your palms and almost cup them just a little bit and slap those across your eyes very quickly. Not too hard. And that'll get your attention pretty quickly. And the idea here is not to knock somebody out. The idea is to set this person up for some kind of follow-up. Now, having said that, we still want to use our basics. So when I do this hit, I'm going to be bending my knees and hitting with my body as opposed to just doing something like this where my arms get stretched out straight. So if we're working together here again, this attack is coming in to get me. I stop it, bam. See how I took that step in and I hit with my entire body here. That leaves me open for some of these other follow-ups that we could use. Okay? So let's practice that together. Hands are up here. Again, a little bit funny movement, but once you get it, you'll recognize how powerful it is. I'm stepping in with my left and I'm hitting with my entire body. Okay? Again, we're going to say stop.
Yes, sir.
Ready.
Each. Stop. Knee.
Stop!
Stop. Stop. She.
Stop!
Go.
Stop!
Okay, very good. May seem a little bit awkward, may not even look particularly martial arty. But again, very, very effective. So I'm getting hit, some kind of a circular hit. Stop, stop! Very, very effective. See how that sets up other things that I might be able to do. Okay? Why does it set these things up? Because this is an autonomic response. If you hit somebody in the eyes, their hands are going to go up to protect and or to feel what kind of damage has been done. Can you imagine somebody getting hit in the eyes and just sort of having their hands stay down here or having their hands go out? It would never happen. It would never happen. So if you get hit in the eyes, those hands are going to come up. That leaves the base open, and we'll talk about that later, attacking the base, and leaves other opportunities for some advanced techniques, a little bit beyond the scope of this DVD just yet, but it's important that you learn how to do this hit. Let's take it to the pads.
Each. Stop. Knee.
Stop!
Stop.
Stop!
She.
Stop!
Go.
Stop!
Good. And again, I'm pushing down, I hit up and back. See how I'm doing that with my body. Okay. Ready.
Each.
Stop!
Good.
Knee.
Stop!
Stop.
Stop!
She.
Stop!
Go.
Stop!
All right, well done. Yeah, imagine what that would feel like, right in your face.
Sir.
It's a pretty awful thing to have happen.